At least in the Palisades, the hydrants were still there. 300 other ones around the city are just gone, stolen for parts. One of the 3 reservoirs for the Palisades was offline at the one time of year when it was most needed.
Bill Maher actually admitted that Trump was right. Can you believe it? For someone with a serious case of Trump Derangement Syndrome that must have been painful, I can almost hear his inner voice screaming. Let's check out what he had to say.
LA's Mayor Karen Bass, the Nero of American politics, was fiddling in Ghana while the city burned and later placed the blame on 8 months of negligible rain and winds that have not been seen in LA in at least 14 years. Yeah, that's not that long a time. Maybe look in the history books to see how our ancestors handled it back in 2011. The mayor said about cuts to the fire department's budget, there were no reductions that were made that would have impacted the situation. The fire chief here had a slightly different take. She said, "We are screaming to be properly funded. And yes, the budget was cut and it did impact our ability to provide service. And by the looks of all the fire engines in the boneyard out of service because we didn't fix them, she's right." Exposed power lines keep causing fires and keep not getting buried underground because it's expensive. I've heard people say, do you want to pay more taxes to fund this? No. I want you to use the exorbitant taxes you already collect to prioritize it.
So what do you guys think about what Bill Maher had to say? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And hey, if you're enjoying this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Now let's get back into the video.
Power lines that cut through Topanga weren't upgraded because it endangered an herb, the milk vetch, which sounds like something they serve at Passover. I mean, talk about not seeing the forest for the trees. You know what the absolute worst thing for the environment is? Wildfires. A 22 study found that the smoke from just the 2 in 2020 wiped out 18 years of carbon reduction in the state, which means we suffered the pain of driving those early model Priuses for nothing. California is the place that spends money and gets nothing, which is why you may have noticed when the fires broke out, no one escaped by high-speed rail. We have the highest marginal tax rate in America, higher than almost all other states, and soon Greenland. What is included for that? Breadsticks? Because it clearly doesn't cover fire. That's government's job. Protect us from crime, violence, theft, fire. I'm not saying Alabama would have done better with fires by fighting them with prayer in school. But look me in the eye and tell me anyone could have done worse. We just got our ass kicked by fire, something Neanderthals fought to a tie. The good news is our fire chief is a lesbian.
Bill Maher might be a raging liberal with a serious case of Trump Derangement Syndrome, but let's be honest, he's not one of those woke Hollywood types. And honestly, listening to those same woke celebrities suddenly lose it over looting is hilarious. Remember when they said looting is the language of the unheard, or that people were just trying to survive? But now that their $10 million mansions are being hit, looting doesn't seem so poetic anymore, does it? It's funny watching these out-of-touch Hollywood elites finally deal with the mess they've been defending. And credit where it's due. Bill Maher has been calling out this kind of nonsense. He's not on the woke train, and I have to give him props for that. Now don't get me wrong, there's plenty of other stuff to call him out on, but on this one he's absolutely right.
Am I against a lesbian being chief? Of course not. Do I think a lesbian can do the job? Of course I do. And maybe she's the best person for the job. Or maybe they really wanted a lesbian in that job, and she's just the best lesbian for the job. And with essential services, that's not good enough. Crowley's official bio says Chief Crowley leads a diverse department, creating, supporting, and promoting a culture that values diversity, inclusion, and equity while striving to meet and exceed the expectations of the communities. Well, you didn't exceed my expectations, which was that the whole city wouldn't burn down. But it's telling that diversity is mentioned twice before we get to while striving to meet expectations. Now, can you do two things at once? Yes. But it matters where your head is. Deputy Chief Kristen Larson said this.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you.
Which would sound kind of racist if a Southern sheriff said it. You'd be sending white firefighters to white houses and black ones to... Who teaches people this bullshit? No one cares what someone looks like when they're pulling you out of a burning house.
All right, let's wrap this up, Bill. Maher might be a raging liberal with a pretty strong case of Trump Derangement Syndrome, but I have to give him some credit here. He's not part of the woke Hollywood crowd. You know, the ones who love to excuse looting as the language of the unheard or something. People did just to survive. But now that their multi-million-dollar mansions are getting looted, suddenly looting isn't so poetic anymore, is it? It's honestly entertaining to watch these out-of-touch Hollywood elites face the very chaos they defended for so long. And yeah, Bill Maher has been calling out this nonsense, and I have to respect him for that. He's not on the woke train, and for once he's actually making sense. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Bill Maher is perfect. There's still plenty to criticize him for, and I'll happily do that another time. But on this issue he's right, and it's refreshing to see someone from his side of the aisle finally say what we've all been thinking. So what do you guys think? Is Bill Maher finally breaking away from the woke nonsense? Or is this just a rare moment of clarity? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel and keeps the content coming. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.